Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night, and it's Champions League night, and we're back with the reaction show. Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0 in Germany. And joining me to get their reaction is the one and only Sam Spurs for Life and Sean
Fake smile.
Hurley. Good evening, boys. How are we?
All right. I'm
okay.
Just all right. I'm not excited. I'm not downhearted. I'm just all right.
Cool. Right. So let's get. Go on, Sean.
I was going to say, dear, oh dear, that was a much better performance tonight, and I don't understand why there's a downer here. But anyway, go on. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go straight into it. So, as you was aware, it's Tottenham Hotspur 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. So, like Sean, you said, a better performance than Sunday, in my opinion, in your opinion as well. I think, Sam, you might agree. But still a lot of negativities. Still quite a few positivities. I know what my negativities are. And Sam, you look the most upset out of all three of us. So fire away. What did you think of tonight's performance?
I'm not upset. I'm just not nonplussed. It's we expect a reaction after a defeat at the weekend to our bitter rivals. You expect a reaction. That's without saying. It's a tough place to go to. The crowd, the atmosphere, it was always going to be a hard place to go to. So I called a draw before that. But what I want to see is not so much even the performances, it's the personnel. I'm concerned about the personnel. We never see any change of shape. We see the same 3-4-3. Now, we played it better because we adapted the forwards instead of them being a little bit wider. They were really narrow. So Richarlison, Son came right in. They were closer to Bentancur and Hotspur, which meant it was a very tight four. So they tried to go down the wide areas, which they did, and they were successful at times. But to be fair, they didn't really look like they were going to have that much goal threat. We got back control of the game, but we didn't have a shot on target until, was it 60-something minute? Yeah. For a game where you don't want to lose. Obviously, I said a draw, but it wasn't like we were really pushing to get that goal. I don't think the performances of Son and Kane were great. I don't think Richarlison was great, and that's our forward line. Again, playing all three of those players now means what happens at the weekend? Because we've got no Kulu. Do we play all three of them again to keep the same shape? Because Brian Hill, as we've seen, he needs to eat Weetabix. He's not strong enough. He's just not going to be able to cut it. We've got no Lucas Moura. Again, the midfield too. I said I was concerned that we might get an injury tonight. A few players look like they took a couple of knocks. I don't know what's going to happen come Saturday. That result today is a good result in the long run because we've got 2 home games left out of 3 games, but we have to win both of them. And at the moment, we've seen how we've played. It's improving, but when you only have we'll see. I don't even think we have more than 2 shots on target.
We'll put the stats up. Yeah. I will put that up in a minute. Sean, what did you think?
It's funny how you read a game differently. I thought Kane had a really good game tonight. He took a lot of battering. He held his own. I thought he didn't get really great support from Son in particular, who I thought was not good tonight. And Richarlison, I think, was better in the second half than he was in the first. I thought our midfield was great. I thought Hotspur, who we wanted, who had a dreadful game on Saturday, was all over the park. At the end, creating a chance. We didn't shoot on target, but we created chances which normally we would take. And I think, given that we created nothing on Saturday, I think we should look at the benefits. And we carved them open at times in the first half. Absolutely. Good Conte ball. And I don't know why people are looking for the negatives. Why are people looking for the negatives tonight?
For me, I think
we got a point away from home in the Champions League.
Yeah. A point away from Champions League would have been, I think Conte will be happy with that. One thing I didn't like was Glenn Hoddle's commentary. You would never think that man played for Tottenham Hotspur, would you? Honestly. But for me, positivities are we played better than we did against Arsenal. We created a lot more chances, and the ones that we did create, clear-cut chances, should have been buried. Son should have buried that one. I think Kane should have buried one as well. And then I think there was another one further down. For me, Sonny's first touch was awful. His passing again was awful. Decision-making was awful. I don't think Richarlison had the best of games. Kane had a decent game, but again, he was a bit off-key with his passing, and sometimes his first touch let him down. But for me, the biggest thing, and I put it on the group, and even my boy said it, first 10, 15 minutes was how deep was Højbjerg. Højbjerg was playing as a centre-back a lot of the times, and there was not one of their players near us, and he was that far deep. Then you had Bentancur in front of him, and the gap between Bentancur, Højbjerg, and our forward line, honest to God, you could have had four football games going on in that gap. There was so much gap. And my son said to me, Dad, our front three are so narrow, like you said, Sean. Perisic is playing on the wing. Take one of them off and have somebody else come into that middle, because them three, as the strikers, are doing a midfielder's job. And hence why a Basuma or somebody like that would have come in, would have suited us. But we're not the manager. Conte's the manager, and Conte says, you know what? I'm doing it my way. You guys are not seeing what I'm seeing in training, and I'm seeing something different. So I'm picking the team on that. And Brian Hill will talk about that just right at the end on a quick brief one. But let's have a look at the stats. If I can get them up. Right, here we go. So, Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. They had 43% possession. We had 57% possession. 12 shots by them. 11 shots by us. They had 2 on target. We had 2 on target. And I think, like you said, Sam, our first shot on target was around the 65-odd minute. 6 corners to them. 4 corners to us. 8 fouls. 9 fouls. Right, Sam. If we're looking at that as a neutral, you're looking at possession. 57% possession. You'd be thinking we controlled that game. Did we control that game, and did we do enough that we should have won the game?
We weren't in control of the game. The game was even. You know, The reason why, again, stats can always deceive slightly. You know, that possession could be in our half. You know, it wasn't in the middle third or the final third of theirs. It was more so in our half. And the reason why, and I just explained the tactical switch that we had, the reason why Højbjerg dropped into that back three to make it a back four is to have more control. So if you watch the 2 wide wing backs, they kind of come in to the center. So we almost had, you know, a 4-3-3, if that makes sense, in terms of when they rotated round, because Højbjerg dropped in. It still isolated Bentancur in the middle, but the 2 wider players did come in to try and make that a little bit tighter. And like I said, the 2 forwards kind of come back as well. So, you know, it was a 4-5-1-ish, 4-3-3, depending on where they were positioning. So that's why I think we had a bit more possession, because Højbjerg was dropping into the back. If you notice, we weren't playing too many of the long ball. We were trying to be more controlled. Great. Fantastic. But we didn't progress the ball enough, I don't believe, in terms of getting quality efforts at goal, because shots on target suggests that to me. It suggests that we weren't clinical. We were getting into great areas. We've said this about Tottenham a lot of time. We get into great areas. We got into great areas against Arsenal. Our final ball was poor. What I'm saying is, if this continues, the players that we relied on tonight are going to have to be the players that we rely on Saturday, because I can't see anybody that he trusted. I don't want to see Brian Hill play against Brighton, because if he's getting knocked about like that in the Premier League, it's going to be even worse, in my opinion. But we ain't got nobody else. So what do you think is going to happen now? We're going to probably see the same front three. I'm not saying it's not a bad result. Of course it's not. But it's going forward. How are we now going to adapt? Conte said, we're going to have to rotate these players. I ain't seen none of that. Dyer's played every minute of every game this season.
Yeah.
That's one stat that you should take away and think about that. Kane probably isn't far behind him.
Yeah, I agree. Sean, if you looking at that, right, away from home, 57 possession, we've had more possession, we've had almost, 1 shot less and we've had the same amount on target. Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be happy with that? Everyone's been moaning, and on this channel in particular, that we don't have enough possession. We've got nearly 60% possession tonight. We've been complaining that we're not creating shots. We created 11 shots. All right, only 2 of them are on target, but we've created chances. I just don't get the negativity, Sam. It's really strange you can't see.
Listen,
in the first half, we carved them open several times.
I'm happy with the point. I'm not happy with the team selection. I'm not happy with what we've done in order to go forward for Saturday. I said a point was going to be great for this because we've got 2 home games there. So this will prove, if we win our 2 home games, how good a point it was. This isn't the game that I'm looking for from this set of players. It's because I'm looking towards Saturday now, against Brighton, who are going to be probably, if not more so, in possession than what Frankfurt were today. I didn't see enough in our play to suggest that we can go and take it to Brighton. If we didn't take it to this guy's, I expected us to go for it tonight in terms of getting opportunities because we played so badly on Saturday.
Sam, do Eintracht Frankfurt play the same way as Brighton?
I don't know what they're going to do on Saturday, but what I'm saying is...
Hold on a second. You know what Brighton...
Hold on. No. Because Brighton have got a new manager, so I don't know what they're going to do. They might tactically change something. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Frankfurt tonight had a game plan. They didn't press us from the front. They pressed us from a middle block. So it allowed us to have possession. What I'm trying to...
They're the home team, had 2 shots on target.
So I'm saying to you, the possession stats don't mean much if the way that Frankfurt played allowed us to have the ball in the same way we allowed other teams to have the ball. That's why they have more possession. Frankfurt allowed us to have the ball. They tried to play a very similar way that we played. We probably played it slightly better, but no team scored tonight. That's my opinion. I'm just giving you what I think.
Right. We've been discussing this all week since the North London derby. Everybody else has been discussing it on social media. Was he going to change the formation? Who was he going to play? Emerson Royal can't play, for God's sake. He's been sent off. He's playing rubbish, blah, 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 blah. And the team he put out was exactly the same as the team that he put out at the weekend. Sean, was you shocked or was you... Oh, sorry, not shocked. Was you surprised that the same team that played on Sunday played today? Or was you expecting at least maybe 1 or 2 changes or even a tactical change?
I thought maybe we might go for 3 in the middle, but he's picked the same team. He's made our position clear. We're the fans. We don't see them day in and day out. He's picked the best. What he says, he's picked the best team not to lose, but he wants to win games.
Right.
And I can't say, apart from the touch of the forwards, which was the same as Saturday, I thought most of the back line and the midfield performed admirably tonight. Admirably. They've been let down by the strikers. They're the ones who they've created those 11 shooting opportunities. And the strikers are deadly strikers, haven't put them in the goal.
Sam,
I just don't get the,
It's not negativity. It's just obviously...
you need to look at the game tonight, one game at a time. You can't be thinking about Saturday.
Of course we can think about Saturday because the point is we've got so many games in a row. This is an ideal opportunity for him to make some changes because of those players that
he's come away and got a point though, Sam.
Of these players that you see on the screen now, how many of them do you think are going to be playing on Saturday? I think the majority, apart from, I can definitely say Emerson Royal's not playing. Now, again, I don't want to hear Conte come out and tell me about, we've got all of these games in this succession and blah, 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 blah. If we're not seeing players play, there's still ideal opportunities to play some players, to give them some game time. Skip, we've not seen, didn't come on again tonight. Basuma, we've not seen, didn't come on again tonight. Kulishevsky's injured. He ain't coming on for another 2 or 3 weeks. So... if we're going to do this,
Sam, I've lost count of the number of times you said it's horses for courses. He's picked that team and he's got a point.
Okay.
But
I
Sean,
said at the very beginning, we got a point, and I said it was great to get that.
Yeah.
That's not my beef. The beef isn't about getting the point tonight. I expected us to get that point because of the performance that we had on Saturday. What I'm saying is, I don't believe that performance, given what I've seen for Brighton, I don't know how they're going to play on Saturday. I don't believe that's good enough to go and do the same thing to Brighton, in my opinion, because we've always seen the game after the Champions League is always tough. It's away from home. We've played 3 games. It will be the 3rd game away from home. I don't know if these players are going to be able to do this game, the game that we've seen on against Arsenal, and the game coming up at the weekend without changes. There has to be changes. I'm telling you, okay, we'll see. We'll see. If Conte is going to do this, he's going to work it out well. He's the man. Like you said, he sees everybody in training. I don't know why we ain't seen Skip yet.
Yeah, because what I was going to say, right, was Conte said it, and we've all said it, and Conte is now coming out saying we've got a lot of games in October, a hell of a lot of games in October. I'm going to have to rest Kane. I'm going to have to change it around. I'm going to have to give players rest. Now, Sam, you've mentioned it. Dyer's played every single minute from day one. Kane's not far behind. Son, apart from when he didn't start against Leicester, is not far behind. Romero, we can count the players. Højbjerg, Bentancur, everyone. We have to change the players at some point. And for me today, he could have changed it. He could have played Basuma today for me. Perisic looked a bit lagged for me. And when he did take him off, I think he was a bit huffing and puffing. So he could have started with Cesc today and rested Perisic and brought him on in the 70th minute. Emerson Royal is not going to be playing at the weekend and not for the next 3 games. So for me, I probably would have given someone else a chance at right back. But he's already made it clear that Spencer's not ready and whatever. And Doherty, I don't want to lose again. What he meant by that, I don't know.
So do you see them playing on Saturday? Do you see Doherty playing then on Saturday?
No.
After them comments?
No.
And he's already said that about Spencer. So who's playing on Saturday? Sessegnon might play on left and Perisic probably play on the right.
This is it. And I would have not played the 3 together because now Kulu's injured for at least 2 weeks. He's going to miss 4 games. I wouldn't be starting all 3 of them together because we need someone to come off that bench as an attacking force to change it. Brian Hill came on today, right? But I think he was singing that song because he kept getting down and getting up again. No one's going to knock him down. Every time he got the ball, he got pushed off. He slipped. I don't think he even passed to one of the Spurs players. So for me, this is why I think Conte is not going to, I don't think he's got a future under Conte. I don't think Conte is going to see him as a Spurs player. My opinion anyway. But going into next week, we're at home. Frankfurt, right? The table is Sporting Lisbon at the top, even though they got battered 4-1 today and they had a player sent off. Played 3, won 2, lost 1, 6 points. Tottenham played 3, won 1, drawn 1, lost 1, 4 points. Frankfurt played 3, won 1, drawn 1, lost 1, 4 points. And Marseille at the bottom played 3, won 1, drawn none, lost 2. Now, both of you have had your say on this, and as the game, I think Conte will be happy with the point because it puts us in a decent performance with 2 home games and an away game to come. So, Sean, as the table stands now, are we in a relatively good position to qualify?
Yeah, of course we are. We have to finish first or second. As Sam has said correctly, is that there's 2 of the last 3 games are at home.
At home.
And we would win them. We should win them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, had we lost today, I think that would have been a little bit more pressure. But everything's still to play for. And I think next week, we have to beat them at home. We have to beat them at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think we will. I don't get me wrong. I'm not disappointed in the point. Let's not get that. I'm not disappointed in the point. Get 10 points in this group, and you see, because of how things are, you're guaranteed to go through as first or second. 10 points is that marker. So we get 6 points. That's 6 points out of the next 9. We are guaranteed to be in the round of 16. I can't guarantee the way we're playing that we're definitely going to beat Sporting and we're definitely going to beat. Well, no, I could take that back. I think having on the evidence tonight, I think we should be beating Frankfurt at home. I think we should be beating Sporting at home, but it's not like, oh yeah, definitely going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. No, we might have to rely on, picking up the point away from home as well, just to be on the safe side, which is away to, is it Marseille? We're going to be playing Marseille?
Yes.
Last game, yeah. Game 6.
Last game. They had a good performance tonight, obviously winning 4-1. So they're not out of it. So because now they've won, everybody's pulled in. So anybody that makes a mistake from now is going to put themselves on a little bit more of a difficult thing because the group's so close. So the pressure is on. I'm glad we got the point tonight. That was definitely kind of stopped that, bit of a run of just not picking up the results when we should have got them. But I'm looking further forward. Players now are going to be playing with a little bit of a one eye on the World Cup. We've got players in our squad that have played every single minute of every single game. I was just a little bit, every time Dyer got a little bit of a knock. When Harry Kane took his knock, I was like, it just feels like we're running on these players because we're not reliant, or Conte's not reliant on trusting any of these other ones. What he said about Doherty might be misconstrued. But how do you think Matt Doherty's feeling? Because he's not going to see minutes in the next few games, in my opinion.
We don't know that Doherty doesn't agree with Conte.
You might do.
Yeah,
he might say I'm not as fit as I was last season.
Yeah,
that was a very bad challenge and a very bad injury. I'm surprised. I'm actually quite surprised to see him back as soon as this. To be honest, that was a really bad challenge. That to me was potential ACL, potential 6 months, 8 months, 10 months out. So he will be feeling his way back into form. Yeah, that's true, no doubt about it. And he may well privately agree with Conte that he's at the moment he's making up the numbers. But
he's getting on the bench ahead of Spence, and who's supposedly fully fit.
Spence was on the bench tonight, was he not?
He was.
But he's not likely to come on in. We've seen already, Doherty came on before Spence in the North London derby.
But then, Sam, you have to ask, what did Emerson do wrong to get hooked off?
What, tonight? I don't think he did anything wrong.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I was going to come on to that. I'll fire onto that one. But what I was going to say with Doherty as well is I think if people have just picked up that I don't want to lose. If you listen to the whole thing, he said, and I think what he means is I've got a player who's played every game so far for me, Emerson Royal. He's not done that bad in Conte's opinion, apart from the North London derby when he got sent off for that stupidity. Conte thinks he's done well. So what Conte's saying is, why now would I bring on a player who I don't think is 100%? Well, he's 100%, but he's good enough to be on the bench. But he's come back from an injury. I'm not just going to play him because I don't want to lose games. I think that's what he meant. I don't think he meant it directly as an insult to Doherty, but we don't know. Time will tell. 2 players that I want to just pick out on that everyone was sort of having a go at the weekend. First, we'll start with Lloris. What did you think of Lloris's performance, Sam?
Okay. I don't think he did anything. There was nothing really. There were 2 shots on target, so I guess he made a couple of saves. There was a little bit of a one where there was close in that first half. Romero kind of like pushed it round the corner from the post. It looked like a little bit of a flat, but I could see there was a player coming across him, so he did well to get to it. I just think with Lloris, if he's not under real pressure, I think he's good. He's good. There's nothing wrong. I don't even think the defense was a problem. Longlet, I like Longlet tonight. Dyer again is assured. Romero was definitely better than he was on Saturday. So the defensive freeze is there or thereabouts. It's who are we going to rely on? Because now, who would play for Dyer if he got injured? If he came off tonight, would he look like he possibly could have? Who's playing for him? Sanchez? You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, we know he's not going to be playing. I think it's only a 1-game ban as opposed to 3, so that's probably a bit better for us. But who's playing on Saturday?
Is it only 1-game ban? I
think so. I don't know.
Straight red 3. Straight red.
Someone put it in there because he said
straight red is 3 games.
Fair enough. If it's 3 games and it's 3 games, then he is definitely going to need to be replaced by somebody else, as opposed to Perisic on. I don't want to see that. Perisic is 33 years of age, and he's playing literally all the time now. I know he came off tonight, but probably, like you were saying, he looks a bit leggy at times. So
yeah,
I just want us to. I want Conte to show us that he does have more trust in some of these players, because I don't want him to have to be forced into throwing them on because of injuries, and that's what it looks like it's going to be. If we get injuries, that's the only time he's going to play certain players, unless they're actually redlined.
Sean, how did you think Emerson Royale did today?
To me, I didn't see him do a lot wrong. Sometimes he played for a foul, which he didn't get. But a lot of our players did that tonight, and not just Royale. You know, I thought, you know, I mean, he in the opening 10 minutes, he was our most dangerous player.
He was
getting in behind their defence. You know, and that's kind of what a Conte wing back is supposed to do. So,
yeah,
you know, I mean, he was under a lot of pressure. He will have seen the criticism. You know, online. He's a social media animal, so he will have seen what the abuse he's got. And I thought he stood up tonight, you know, and I don't see him giving much away. I thought Romero was on his game, you know, and he didn't have a particularly good game on Saturday.
No.
So I mean, you know, I'm glass half full tonight. I just can't see why people are just, you know, they've obviously been drinking too early, Tim.
Right. Let's have a look. Let's go.
One question. I'm just posing it to Colin because he wants to pick me out.
Go on.
He wants to pick me up here. Do you experiment with players who've not played away in Frankfurt, who've just won the Europa League, in that atmosphere? Do you experiment with them? Basuma, Spence?
For me,
no, you don't, because Conte knows he needed his experienced players tonight. Lenglet was good. Perisic did a lot of good defensive work tonight for a change. It wasn't maybe as threatening an attack. You don't experiment tonight. Saturday's the day for rotating the team. But let's think. Tonight's stream is review of tonight, not a preview of Saturday. We'll do that later in the week, will we not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a review of tonight's game. Right. Before we continue, please smash that like button. Give us a subscribe.
Me and Sam, we speak from
and
the
follow.
same Bible generally.
Yes,
Absolutely.
man. You got to speak from the heart. I got to say what I see. Like I said, and I did caveat at the very start. Remember I said that because I called a draw. Had I called the winner, we had a draw. I'd be disappointed with that. I'm not disappointed in the result. I looked at the Frankfurt crowd and I mean, that's an atmosphere which you've got to be mentally switched on. You can't just go in there and think, you have to be mentally switched on. And the players they were to a point switched on. I think we did have some quality issues in that final third. Now, is that down to tiredness? Is that down to too many games being played? Is that down to just lack of cohesion? Is that down to Kulu not being in the team? Is he our creative spark? There's so many questions that came from that because I'm lauding up this front four as one of the best in Europe. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I see what I see tonight, particularly from Son, Harry Kane, I'll give you that, Sean. He was probably the best of the front three tonight. Son wasn't on his game, but Son's only scored a hat-trick, and that's the only game where Son, and he had to be brought on to get that hat-trick.
Yeah,
you know?
He has to be rested.
Most games, and we haven't seen the quality we know that we can get from Heung-min Son. Kulusevski, being the most creative of those players, in my opinion, this season, is no longer with us for about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me.
Well, unless we pray for his immediate recovery, we're going to
have
to do without him.
They've said 2 weeks already, so
Yeah,
it's not right. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Good evening to everyone in the comment section. Michael Bennett, yes, boys. And then he's followed up by cheer up, Sam. Cheer up, Sam. Oh, what can it
mean? Because it didn't play Basuma in tonight's Tottenham team.
You lot are wind-up merchants. You lot are so
where would you want to play Basuma against his old team on Saturday? Would you
this
not?
Is a review show.
If he doesn't play on Saturday,
he started
it. We'll talk about that later. Let's go through the comment section. Right, Moljo, our strikers need a bit of shooting practice. I agree, 100% agree, because Son should have buried that one, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Michael Bennett is saying much better tonight, boys. Again, are we clinical? If we are clinical, we win that game, 100%. Walt Joy's saying something what you're on about, Sam. They'll all be knackered on Saturday. I think they're laughing at your Weetabix comment here. Michael Bennett is also saying Mora and Cooley injuries are hurting us. Yep. He's also saying Richie and Sonny's first touch was terrible. Then again, Kane wasn't much better. He lost a lot of ball, but battled well. I think that sums it up for me. Yeah, them two lost the ball a lot. Kane did a few times, but he battled well and he provided more, and he was always there. Whereas the other two, I think, were a bit dry today.
I think Sonny got progressively worse as the game went on.
He did.
He looked awful. He looked awful at one point.
He did.
Just some of his simple passing.
I think Richie improved in the second half, to be fair.
Problem is, with Son at the moment, ooh, you are awful, but I do like you. Michael Bennett.
Right.
Kane for
Conte's
sure.
son-in-law.
Yeah, Kane for sure isn't at the races either. Good evening, Dre. Mora doesn't do shit. He's better off being injured. I think Mora's done. Good evening to Colin Lumsden. Son's touch was shocking tonight and said should have started. We need pace. Can't Conte see this? Michael Bennett again, either. But Son is worrying me at the moment. I think he's worrying a lot of people. The next comment, guys, I want you both to give me your opinion on this one. Because I think he's got sort of a point. Perisic is playing in Sonny's way. Son doesn't play with his back to goal. He runs into space. But there's no space behind because Perisic is there. Thoughts on this one?
Go on, Sean. Yeah,
go on, Sean.
I'm not quite sure about that.
Thanks, Sam. Because I think I think Mark would need to explain that a bit more. I mean, there were one or two times, like for instance, in the second half where Lenglet did a really good overlap, but the ball from Perisic was too straight, and it meant that he couldn't actually cross the ball, and that they shepherded it out for a goal kick. I don't think he plays in Sonny's place.
I don't think so either. I think if you think about the way we play, our front three is supposed to be a front three close. They're not wingers. They're not wide players. So Son is not playing in a wide player system, as Richarlison is not playing. What they can do is they can go out wide, which will allow underlaps. So what we're seeing is Perisic is going on the overlap, but because Perisic is both footed, he can also come inside a lot more than on the other side where you don't see Ryan Sessegnon do that as often because he's predominantly left-footed. So we might see Perisic inside and outside. That's not taking Son's space. If they communicate well, one of them should be in there, one of them should be in the wide area. I think it's actually a good partnership down that side, if I'm brutally honest with you.
Okay.
What I liked about the front three, they might have been ineffective, but particularly in the first half, they switched about. I mean, at one point, Kane was the left forward and Richarlison was in the middle, and I saw Son and Richarlison swap wings. These are the sorts of things I like to see. Players trying to engineer something, and that's why I thought, we were much better than people seem to be giving us system for. But it's
Colin's saying here, Conte ball and tactics looks like Nuno. The only difference is Kane playing for Conte but never showed up for Nuno. Conte will be sacked in the new year.
Not sure about that, but
I know. Marlon Bashford, good evening, Marlon. Good performance. David Clark, hi from Leicester. I wear a white Spurs cap with the South Korean flag on the side, but Son was poor and so was Kane. What else is going on here? Let's have a look. There we go. David Clark, how much ball work do you think they do in training? Very little. So Conte not playing Spence has more to do with a clash with Daniel Levy. Okay, Colin.
I don't know. That one is a mystery to me.
Yeah,
it's a mystery.
Basuma and Spence made the bad choice coming to Spurs. Bangkok, good evening, Bangkok 69. I want to see a lot more games time for Brian Gill, young, full of energy, wants to make things happen, etc. Gill at left wing back for me, not for
Gill's
me.
like a wet tissue paper that you try and rub on a carpet. He's gonna disintegrate. He's not built for this. He's not built for that. I've seen enough now. That's why Conte's not playing. I can fully understand that one. Don't get me wrong. He'll play if we have to play him, but he's not physical enough for this for this league at this moment. He's
Do
got tricky
you,
stuff.
was it not a brave substitution then?
I think he had no choice.
To try a player who's not played this season
I think he's
in
got no
away in the
choice.
Champions League.
I think he's had no choice. You know what I mean? If he's got to bring someone off in the front area, which again, bringing Richarlison off over as opposed to Son, that's questionable. But who else are we going to bring on that right-hand side? There was no other forward we could bring on. Hence the reason for the starting them three. If you start with a 2, you can bring on a Son, you can bring on a Richarlison, you could even bring on a Kane if Kane's on the sub bench, which isn't likely to happen. So Kane's going to play. Oh, it's the review show. I forget we're not doing a preview.
No, your friends on Tom Lowry. Good evening, Tom. Credible point, much improved performance. David Clark is saying about tonight, same old problem, losing possession with shocking passing. I think passing needs to be dealt with because
horrible.
It's not getting any better, is it? It's not getting any better at all.
Well, I would say the difference tonight was that the losing of the possession was in their third. I don't remember the defence particularly. You know, there were 1 or 2 occasions, but I mean, they were systematically being dispossessed on Saturday.
Yeah.
Tonight they weren't. I thought Lenglet was good.
Yeah.
I think 100%. I think defensively, I don't think there was a problem defensively for us. I just think in that final third, we got to do some. We have to be better with that ball because some of them are quite simple passes. It wasn't like it was like having to play through 2 or 3 players or over the top into a corner. Some of them are quite easy passes. So again, is it like what that comment was? Does Conte do so much tactical work in terms of player positions and patterns of play that the players don't get enough creativity? Because that's what I was coached when I was doing my. You want to be rigid in defense, but you want to be creative in attack. You want the players to be able to do something because if the opposition don't know what they're doing, do you know what I mean? It's going to be difficult for them. When you've got patterns of play, and we've seen the patterns of play that we get to try and get the ball through to Harry Kane, we then flicks it onto a runner in Richarlison or Son. Teams work that out. You have to have a bit more creativity in there. And I think Conte, not that he's squeezed that all out of them, but it's very rigid. The patterns are so rigid that the players have to be in certain positions. It lacks that creative spark. Sometimes you've got to let these players just play because Son, Kane, Richarlison can be creative. I've seen them do it.
Right. Alexandra Hilton, let's be real, our front three couldn't hit a cow's arse with a bango. And then he also says here, the balls were okay. The front three couldn't score to save their lives. Right. So, final thoughts, guys. A point in Germany at Frankfurt, who were the European League winners last season. I'm going to keep it simple. Final thoughts on the game, Sean. Just the final thoughts. Nothing more, nothing less. As brief as you can.
The objective was not to lose. Achieved. The objective was to score. Not achieved.
Yeah.
We got a point, though. We go back to our place. My concern is that when I'm hearing that 30,000 Eintracht Frankfurt fans turned up to the new camp,
I know,
where I think they give us 2,000 tickets, they're going to be all over our stadium next week.
Yes.
And if any of them are near me in my seats, they will be getting it.
A Frankfurter.
They'll be getting more than a Frankfurter. I hope Tottenham's ticketing is a bit more robust than West Ham's was.
It will be, because if we can't get tickets for our friends or guests, then I'm sure they won't be able to get any tickets. Sam, final thoughts.
Happy with the point, concerned about the weekend.
Okay, that's simple as that. For me, again, happy with the point. We've gone to Germany. We didn't lose the game, as you said, Sean. I think the objective was not to lose the game. If we got a draw, yes. If we won, triple bonus. And I think Conte will be happy with that. I've not seen his press conference yet, but I think overall he'll be happy with the performance. He might be a bit gutted we didn't win the game, but a point is a point. Right, so going into the weekend, what are we on Tuesday today? So, Sam, it'll be a preview show on
Thursday. 8 o'clock Thursday, do that preview show. Let us redo it.
What? Preview show while Arsenal are playing in the Europa League?
Who gives it? I don't. I don't need to hear any more Arsenal talk. I don't want to hear none of that. That's it now.
That's it.
I'm done with them lot.
Absolutely. Right. Absolute pleasure having you guys on again. Thank you very much, everyone, in the comment section for your comments and listening and watching the three of us talk about the review of the game. please, as a final, please like, subscribe, and follow our channel. And we will see you on Thursday. Have a good rest of the week. Enjoy your Champions League football, not your Europa League football.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thursday.
Come on, you Spurs.